Good evening and welcome inside Blackie's Bulldog Tavern here in Smithfield, Rhode Island for another edition of the Marty Fine Coaches Show on ON 1240 in the Bryant Sports Network. Tristan Hobbs, joined by the head coach, Marty Fine. Coach, first off, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you too, Tristan. You very nice costume you decided to go with today.
I did.
What are you, dressed as an adult?
Something like that, Coach.
You told me to give you a Halloween joke. It's the best I got.
You got it here, Coach. The Bulldogs coming off a 35-31 loss to Duquesne. They are back home this weekend for the final time this year. It's senior day. They host Robert Morris on Saturday at noon at Burns Stadium. We'll get to that. Coach, first wanted to get your thoughts overall on Saturday's game against Duquesne out in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, disappointing. I thought we did some things awfully well. They're a very good football team. As we know, they played in the playoffs last year. And we really thought if we could go in there and control the ball for periods of time and score when we had chances in the red zone, that we'd put ourselves in a good spot. And for the most part, we played well for periods of time. But then at times we just let the game get away from us, and that's disappointing, especially with the number of seniors we have. You know, we thought we'd maintain our composure better. We thought we'd compete for longer stretches of time without having a loss of focus. And when you go back and look at the mistakes, we gave up 4 50-yard plays. We didn't catch a ball on kick return. We missed through a ball on a deep post, things that our kids can do. And we put them in positions, I think, to have success. We lost our focus at times, and it wasn't everybody. It was one here and one there, but those add up. And on Saturday, added up to a disappointing loss. We lost 35-31 on the road. It's a tough trip. But, again, that has nothing to do with the third quarter and the miscommunications that we had. We have to coach better this week to eliminate those miscommunications so we get back on the winning track.
You mentioned scoring in the red zone, Coach, and the frustrating part of this game as well as the main game, both games 35-31, you had the ball in the red zone and a chance to score and had to settle for a field goal. And ended up being that's the difference in the game, 4 points. Well, and obviously you're not upset about
when was the field goal?
The field goal this week, they made it 10-7.
Yeah, it was early in the game.
Yes.
So we scored the first time we had it on a 90-yard drive.
97, longest of the season.
Okay, so you got to feel like you started pretty good.
Great start.
Then we scored, I think every time we were in the red zone, 4 touchdowns and a field goal.
Yep.
So we were 5 for 5 in the red zone. I thought that we had a period of time we didn't run the ball very effectively. We were trying to go into the wind in the third quarter. We had turned the ball over on the kick. Our defense held, and we wanted to get some momentum back, wanted to grind on them a little bit, wanted to, use our physicality. Went out and ran the ball, first down and second down, didn't get it. Had a short throw on third down and didn't get it. Just a ball a little bit behind the guy. So, we were awfully close to doing what we wanted to do, but honestly, when you go on the road and score 31 points and don't have turnovers and don't have penalties and you like your chances. And but we didn't. We needed to score one more time, and we needed to stop them a little bit more than we did.
Coach, your team defensively got a strong performance at times, but the big plays. Not only were they big, but they were back-breaking plays. They came in situations where it was second down and 25, third down and 19. I mean, it's something that happens.
And I have to tell you, we don't give up a lot of big plays. I mean, we have let people drive the ball at times, all the way back from Merrimack, all the way forward. We've had times where people have controlled the ball and driven the ball and converted third downs. We haven't gotten off the field this year as well as we would like, but we haven't just given up giant plays. And then there's 4 50-yard plays in the second half Saturday. One in the second quarter and then 3. And you can't give up 200 yards on 4 plays. I mean, that's not a formula for success. And it was, it was a little bit athletic, but most of it was communication stuff. And when you're playing with seniors, they should communicate it better and clearly, even when it's on the road in front of a crowd. We have to all get on the same page. That way, everything fits. And what happens is if you have a couple of guys doing one thing and a couple of guys doing something else, there's a seam in between. And Duquesne's good enough to go find that.
We'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll finish up our discussion about the Bulldogs game against Duquesne, and we'll look ahead to the Bulldogs Senior Day game against Robert Morris on Saturday at Burns Stadium. This is the Marty Fine Coaches Show on ON 1240 in the Bryant Sports Network. Welcome back to Blackie's Bulldog Tavern. Tristan Hobbs along with the head coach of the Bryant football team, Marty Fine. The Bulldogs getting set to host Robert Morris on Saturday. A noon kick. The Bulldogs will honor their senior class prior to the game. And, Coach, just to wrap up last week, a couple of individuals I want to talk about. Thomas Costigan, I thought, had one of the best games he's played here at Bryant. 10 tackles. He had a strip sack, recovered the ball at the Duquesne 5, set up a touchdown. 2 plays later, he intercepts a pass at the Duquesne 22, sets up a touchdown. You guys scored 14 points in 54 seconds thanks to Thomas Costigan.
Well, he was a big part of it, clearly. And he's a great player and makes a lot of big plays. We had several defensive guys play really well. I mean, Marquise Watson, I think, played the best football he's played.
10 tackles.
After the game, their offensive guard, who's an all-conference player, was walking across the field, and I shook his hand, congratulations on a great career to the young fella, and he said, that's the best guy I've played against all year. So, Marquise, he is the cornerstone of what we do on defense, and as he goes, so go we most of the time. And I thought he was really a dominant factor. I thought when we played well, he was really, really good Saturday. I thought Thomas Costigan made big plays, and you don't have enough of that. You got to make plays, and he did. And so that's terrific. He's a sophomore, and we need more of those young guys. But we had moments of playing really good, exciting, fast-moving, physical football. And now we just have to go out this weekend and sustain it for all 60 minutes. And it's important. It's our last home game. It's senior day. But more important than that, we got to get back on the winning track. This season is far from over. We're 2-2 in the league. Even though around here it feels like someone kicked your dog. The reality is we're 2-2 in the league, and we got a chance to get back on the winning track with 2 league games left, and we got to go play fast.
Coach Keenan Thompson, 4 of his 6 catches went for touchdowns. It's the first time.
Pretty good percentage.
Pretty good. It was his first 4 that went for touchdowns. His last 2 came later in the game. First receiver in program history to have 4 touchdown receptions in a game. He's the 3rd different player this year, Matt Sewell, Taylor Barthollet, to have at least 3 in a game. So we talked about it the first week of the season about how deep your receiving core is, and it's played out like that all season long.
Well, it has, and Gene Constant makes a great big play again. And
26-yard pickup.
Yeah, he doesn't have as many giant plays as some of the other guys, but you can go 5 or 6 guys deep and say, boy, he had a big catch. Mitchell Baxter a couple of weeks ago had a couple third down catches.
Aaron I.E.
has had several during the course of the season. But Keenan really stood out on Saturday. He played terrific. He blocked great. He was in the right places. He did a lot of things well. And then when he had a chance to go advance the ball like a big, strong receiver, boy, did he.
I was just going to say that it wasn't, folks, a diving catch in the back of the end zone. It wasn't a pirouette down the middle of the field. It was, I catch the ball at the 30-yard line, and then I barrel over a defender at the 5 and get into the end zone. He really showed that physicality. I think it was the last touchdown he caught. He caught it with a defender draped all over him, held onto the ball in the corner of the end zone.
When you're 210 pounds and run fast, and over the years he scored a lot of touchdowns because he is a big, strong guy. And in this particular game, with how they were configured, he had some opportunities to go make plays, and he caught it with his hands, and he ran fast. And what happens is if you slow down to catch it, if you don't, then you tackle. It's easy to tackle an object that's not. But when you're 210 pounds and you lift weights 4 days a week and you're strong and physical, it's a lot harder to tackle you when you're running full speed than people would imagine. And he was able to catch it while running full speed, and he was able to break tackles and be real physical. And even when tacklers got to him down the field, he was able to be real physical. So we're happy for Keenan. We're proud of his accomplishment. We'd like to have won the game and do those same things. The
top 2 passers in the league were on display on Saturday as far as passing yardage and touchdown passes. What did you think of their performance? Both Dylan Beekles from Duquesne and Dalton Easton's for the Bulldogs.
That's 2 pretty good college quarterbacks. I thought...
one interception, 8 touchdown passes combined for the 2 of them.
What was the interception?
Thomas Costigan for...
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I thought both of them did things they can do well. I thought they both threw terrific footballs. I thought the wind was a bigger factor than people want to say.
It blew across the field, not really.
It turned.
Yeah.
And so there were some throws going one way where it knocked it down towards the middle. One of Keenan's touchdowns, he had to come back underneath the guy, pull through, go get the ball, and then turn and dive in the end zone. And Dylan and Dalton both had trouble going the one way a little bit. But, boy, when they let it rip, that especially Dylan in the game for Duquesne, he threw some slants and he had a third down throw at the end of the game where they needed a third down to keep the ball away from us. And he threw a slant to that big receiver. They have several big receivers. That was about as good a college throw as you're going to find. And so, we played against him for years, and he's a terrific player. And, we wish him nothing but the best of luck with whatever he goes forward and does.
Justin DeMero, let's just before we go to a break here, another big game, 11 tackles. It seems as if he's really stepped into this role, and it's fun to watch a freshman kind of, you can see him take over and realize that this is a kind of his spot now on this team, and he's grown every game he's played. But to have 11 tackles, and now I think he has 65 or something, he's on the verge of having the most tackles by a freshman in program history. What have you seen from his preparation that he's done week in, week out to be consistent?
You know what? Being a freshman is an interesting thing. It's like batting eighth.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to see a lot of fastballs, and they're going to challenge you. And so statistically, you know, Patrick Kinney and Marquise, when they were freshmen, they had played great. And it'll be interesting to see how Jesse comes along with his leadership, with his ability to line up the whole defense, with his ability to get other guys in the right spots, because he has now a lot of experience. And Thomas Costigan is a sophomore on one side of him, and we have three young guys playing with them as well, with Josh Jefferson and with Richard Ukelagaranya and with Robert Brown. So we're very young. 5 of our 6 linebackers that play are freshmen or sophomore. And so we're very young at that spot, and we really feel like the future is really bright there. And so we feel good about that. Jesse is a linchpin, but he's going to have to really go forward, you know, as time goes and do all the other things besides just get the ball on the ground. Now, it's great that he gets the ball on the ground, but there's a lot more to it to being the middle of the defense, and we're going to need him to really work at it.
Bulldogs getting set for Robert Morris this Saturday, noon kickoff at Burns Stadium. We'll talk about Senior Day and about the Colonials when we come back. This is the Marty Fine Coaches Show on 1240 in the Bryant Sports Network. Back inside Blackie's Bulldog Tavern, Tristan Hobbs and head coach Marty Fine. The final day of October. Hope you're all enjoying your Halloween and enjoying your Halloween.
It feels like the fall out there today.
It does. It was 74 degrees on Saturday, Coach.
It was hot as blazes out there by the time the game was over.
It was weird. My sinuses hurt. I was all congested. It's hard to go. We had 32-degree weather when you guys were practicing all week in the morning.
It was a shock to the system. I'll tell you that. The wind was howling at times, and I was frozen, and then the sun came out, and it was baking, and it was an interesting day in Pittsburgh. I'll promise you that.
Coach, your team comes home to welcome another team from Pittsburgh into town. Robert Morris makes the trip across the state of Pennsylvania.
Now, it's a big game for a lot of reasons, right? One is it's Senior Day.
Yes.
And we'll talk about the seniors here in a minute. But when you come to the game, at halftime, no hot dogs, no hot chocolate, no coffee, no bathrooms. No bathrooms are going to be locked. At halftime, we're going to have one of the most important things that happens in the athletic department. We're going to give out rings to champions. The men's tennis club is going to come out on the field at halftime with their coach, Ron Gendron, who is arguably one of the top 2 coaches at our school. He wins and wins and wins and does it all the right way. He's an icon for us. He's someone that we all follow. He's someone that does a terrific job of coaching those kids in a hard-nosed way and makes those kids do things the right way. He teaches great life lessons through his athletics. And so those kids are going to be honored at halftime of our game, and I want to make sure we take a moment just to mention it because I might not even go in and coach halftime. I might just stand there and clap my hands for what those kids accomplished. It's a heck of a deal.
It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to see the hard work rewarded, and it's a thing you can always keep for a long, long time, that ring.
Well, a lifetime. Yep. And it's one of those things you'll pass down. I have we have some coaches with a lot of them. I have several of them, and you work hard, you accomplish something, and you have a tangible asset to carry with you forever to just remind you that the hard work pays off. You're not just rewarding the fact that you won a game, that a ball went in, that you hit, that a foul shot went through. What you're rewarding is the fact that the commitment to excellence, that you learned life lessons, and that they came to fruition. And that's what those kind of rings symbolize, is that you can do things right in the way in which they're supposed to be done and learn from it, and then carry it on to whatever you go do next. And that you could be the hardest worker in your accounting firm. You could be the hardest worker at the marketing company. You can take the lessons from athletics. And that's why it's so important that men's tennis be recognized, because they do it exactly the right way. They're within the rules of decorum and the NCAA and institution and everything else. And they're hard-nosed and competitive and tough. And they don't ask any quarter. They don't give any quarter. They compete. And it comes right from their coach. And every coach, every athlete at our school could take that lesson. And hopefully they all take it with them. But those kids have earned the ring, and we're proud of each and every one of them.
Your team takes on the Colonials on Saturday. The offense has struggled. Their defense, though, has made up for that in bunches. You watch them play, and it makes you scratch your head a little bit, because if they had just a little bit more offense, they could be a team that, instead of being 2-7, could be 500 or better.
They'd be better than that by quite a bit. They've had a bunch of injuries on the offensive side. They decided to go young on the offensive line, from tight end to tackle, playing 3 freshmen, a couple of sophomores. They're going to be really good players. They're big, Western PA, thick-bodied. They're just young. and this game goes really fast. People don't think, that the Boston colleges and Miamis, they're faster than us, but the speed of the college game is more than you're ready for when you're a freshman in a lot of cases, especially on the offensive line. It's the most technical of spots. And so, they've made the decision to go young, but they're really skilled and really athletic. They do 3 or 4 things better than anybody in our league. Their kick return stuff is terrific. Their tailbacks are quick, and they're trying to maintain the ball and getting better and better at it. But in the end, they hang their hat on their defense. Their defense outscored Central Connecticut last week. They had a safety and then an interception return for a touchdown. So they won the game 9-7, even if their offense never had the ball. So their defense is, they're on the field more than, say, St. Francis' defense, but they are the best defense that we'll see.
Top third in the nation in total defense, points against.
And it's even harder when your offense is not playing as well as people expected.
That's many more opportunities for the other team.
And so when the yards are still down and the points are still down, you're really playing good. And they're out there for a lot of plays, and they are fast and physical. They really play defense the way it's designed to be.
We've seen that time and time again in their league games this season. They were tooth and nail with St. Francis because of that defense. They lost by just a touchdown to Duquesne because of the defense. They blocked a field goal against Duquesne and returned it for a touchdown. And that is something that it's a consistent. If that offense all of a sudden gets awakened, then all of a sudden you're looking at it.
You look at it and you see these are the points they've given up: 14, 13, 19 in the league, 24, 16, 6. So I mean, nobody else is like that.
Yeah.
The outside the league, we all struggle at times because we get out-athleted by, when they go play up a little bit, if they're at Liberties and they're at the Youngstown States and, whoever it happens to be. I'm not going to say I mastered their schedule, but in our league, there's nobody that plays faster on defense, does more things. There's nobody that's better coached. This is as physical a group as we're going to see all year. And we know we still have Coastal Carolina to go. So we're going to have our hands full this weekend. We have to find ways to run the ball. At times Saturday we were able to run the ball and give ourselves a chance, especially early in the game. But when we had to run the ball, we couldn't do it as well as we wanted to. But most importantly of all, if we're fortunate enough to get ahead, we have to learn how to get ahead, stay ahead, and finish games. It's 3 times this year we didn't get that done, as you well know. In 3 games we had every chance to do that. And we're going to have to run it when they know we're going to run it. We're going to have to still get first downs and still maintain possession of the ball. The one thing about them is you have to be awfully careful when you punt it to them. You have to be really careful when you kick it to them. They're a great return team unit. They've blocked punts. They've blocked kicks. They understand that when their offense is struggling, they have to create points in the other ways. And so they're really aggressive on defense. Last week they intercepted one for a touchdown. They blitzed down on the goal line coming out and got Central Connecticut for safety. So you have to know it's going to be a pressure game. And they created a ton of pressure on your offensive line, on your quarterback. And while we'll have some chances from that, well, you better make the most of them because it's not going to be a lot of time.
Lastly, on Robert Morris, one guy that sticks out for you on defense for them? Is there a guy that you've seen?
Yeah, I think so. The number 5 is the safety, Marcellus Branch. He was a corner for several years. He was an all-league corner. He moved inside earlier this year. He's a cat-quick, tough, physical. He kind of just exemplifies how they play defense. Now, they got good players everywhere. The nose tackle, 53, is a good player. 92, we just couldn't block him last year at times as a defensive end. They're good at linebacker, especially inside. They're athletic, but number 5, he shows up everywhere. I mean, you turn on the film and there's this rocket going across the field. Zoom, bang, zoom, bang. I mean, he's terrific. He's like the best safeties in our league. He's like 22 at St. Francis. Every team has a guy that's kind of a loaded missile, and he's theirs.
And great football name as well, Marcellus Branch.
Marcellus Branch.
Can't beat that.
No, he's terrific.
Coach,
terrific player.
Your team honoring its senior class prior to the game on Saturday, always a special day. This senior class really has done a lot of special things for this program. An 8-win season a couple years ago. They finished 500 or better in league play. They've beaten CAA teams. They've beaten Brown. They've done a lot for this program, and a couple fifth-year guys as well in this.
There are. It's an interesting group. They've accomplished an awful lot. They didn't accomplish the one goal, which is to win the championship, and not that my heart goes out. It's not a tragedy, but they've done terrific in school. Most of them have jobs ready for next year. They've been great citizens on our campus. They're great ambassadors of our institution, and they play hard. And I know that our young players will honor them this weekend with their effort. And that's what you ask on Senior Day. Don't shake their hand. Don't pat them on the back. Don't play as hard as they do. Go play with the intensity of a senior in their last home game. You know, in their time here, I think they're 14-6, 14-7 at home in their last couple of years. We're 3-1 this year. They played terrific at home. And while we struggled on the road at times this year, the reality is that this is their last home game, and we want to make sure we give them every opportunity to go out there and have success.
So this will be your 13th Senior Day here at Bryant. 13th Senior Day. A lot of special moments, and it's hard because the timing of it, and you want to honor them, but you also don't want to get them out of their rhythm before the game starts. But
it's tough.
It is tough.
It's really tough.
But and you guys do a good job after the season. You have your awards banquet, so it's another opportunity to honor them again that night. But it is tough to balance it between this is a football game and also it's a celebration.
And we try to play all the seniors.
Yep.
Not that you're always successful with everything you hope to do, but the hope is to get every senior in the game at some point. Tough with some of the ones this year. We've already started looking at that and working on that, but that's our goal, so that they all get a chance to go out there and play and be honored. But in the end, we're not going to get any extra points because we patted kids on the back or because we were nice to mommy and daddy. We got to go win the game, and so we have to be able to balance those things. And our kids will understand that, and they already do understand it.
Are there any special things that you do during this week for Senior Day? Kids playing their last game. Is there anything you say you've done? Have you given them the opportunity to do, or is that more of a last game type of thing?
We've done it both ways. What we're going to do this week is we'll talk to the kids tomorrow, and we'll give them opportunities to speak to their teammates. I think it's important that the young kids understand, despite the disappointment we've had this season, that this matters, that it's important, and that you can't let go of the rope. You can't stop. That for these seniors, these 20, however many it is, 25, 26 seniors, these games are really important, and they're going to always be remembered. And so, we owe them in the regard as well. And we'll give them a chance to convey that message to the young players in the program as well.
Coach, what's your message to this team, not just Senior Day, but going into this game? With a win on Saturday, you would secure another 500 or better season in league play, which you guys have done every year since joining the NEC. What is your message this week?
Well, not just since joining the NEC, every year.
Yes, correct.
We've never been below. And
correct.
But, those things, we talk about them at times, what's our record on homecoming? In. None of that affects this game, right? This is really more about blocking and tackling and competing for 60 minutes with great discipline and never losing your eye discipline and never stopping your feet on a tackle and never, not running the right route. And, we have to play better. We work too hard not to. We owe each other that. And so the expectations are still high, and I'm not going to lower those expectations. We're going to go out there, and this is going to be a tough game now. This is a hard game for us to win in a lot of ways from a matchup standpoint, but we're going to go out there, and we're going to go compete as hard as we can and not worry about why. You don't play because you may win a championship. You play because you love football, and you can't be without it. And as long as we keep that in our hearts and we love each other and we care about the seniors, then I think we'll show up and we'll play. And it's a fascinating contest. A couple of weeks ago, everybody was, oh, my God, we lost the game. What are we going to do? And I said the character of the team will shine through, and it has. The last 2 weeks we've played hard. I mean, we didn't play well Saturday in some spots, but nobody who was there would say we didn't play hard. The first thing their coach said when he came across the field, he goes, holy cow, your kids. I mean, we went out there and we took a big bite. We came up short on the scoreboard, and that's going to happen in life. But we did it the right way. We competed, and we're gonna do everything we can to get our kids to go like that again this weekend.
Coach, to wrap up our show, we have about 2 minutes. It is Halloween. I know that it falls in the fall, so not a holiday that you get to celebrate because it's football season. It's been football season for a long, long time.
I didn't even know there was a holiday in the football season.
So before the show, I asked you, do you have a favorite candy at all? Not Halloween candy per se,
no.
But not Snickers or not Milky Way, Kit Kat, nothing like that?
No.
No? More of a milkshake guy?
You want to, you're digging. I warned you, there's nothing there. When I was little, I have an older sister and 2 younger sisters, and we went out trick-or-treating in New York City, and there were square blocks. And my mother said, don't go off the block because it gets dark in October. New York City in the 60s, you don't just wander around. But the little sister, I want more candy. So I don't know how old I was, 5 years old. So we said, okay, we'll go one more block. Well, we got in trouble, and they took Halloween away forever. And so I've never been a Halloween guy ever since. I never celebrated. So I don't have a lot of Halloween stories for you. All I know is the fact that you're dressed up today makes us all happy, and we're glad you're in costume.
Candy apple guy? Anything? If you had one sweet tooth thing.
Black decaf coffee.
Black decaf coffee. All right, I respect that. Coach, you got the Colonials on Saturday. Last home game of the season, senior day, noon kickoff. Should be an outstanding afternoon of football for the Bulldogs.
I truly hope that that's true. I believe in the kids. I believe in the team. I believe in the system. I believe in what we've created all these years. And I really think that if you come out and watch, you're going to be really pleased and proud of what we put out on the field. I think the character of this team is going to shine through, and we're going to go compete at a really high level. And I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Bulldogs Colonials on Saturday at noon at Burns Stadium. Come out early as the Bulldogs will honor their senior class.
And don't forget halftime.
Don't forget
no
halftime.
No hot dogs, no pizza pie, no bathrooms. Go watch the men's tennis get their rings. It's worth it.
Men's tennis get their championship rings at halftime of this weekend's football game. Get there early as well to join the senior ceremony. The Bulldogs and Colonials, noon kickoff. Watch it on NEC Front Row or listen here on ON 1240. Join us next week for another edition of the Marty Fine Coaches Show, live from Blackie's Bulldog Tavern. Thanks for joining us tonight, and happy Halloween.